All right, all right. Whoa, hair is looking a little funky. All right, so how's everybody doing today? Oh, all right. Yeah, sorry about that. My stream was looking a little funky, so I had to check that out. But anyway, welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a couple weeks. I had some travel last week. I went to the mothership, um, where I work up in the Seattle area, and that was a good trip. Yeah, I did a little experiment where I brought food with me. I'm eating like 6 times a day now, so well, I have been for a long time. But at those all hands meetings that you go to, they usually feed you. They feed you pretty good, but usually it's long sessions and etc. So I tried a new experiment. I watched some of the way the professional bodybuilder guys pack their food and bring it with them when they travel. So I thought I might try that. So I packed a Yeti full of some frozen meats and frozen fruits, and the frozen meat thing worked out really well. I had a fridge in my hotel room, so I was able to keep that good. But I brought too much, so there was some wastage. I felt kind of bad about that, but it was good. Yeah, I was able to bring some food, so I wouldn't have to buy everything when I was there, and it's not really applicable or possible to cook a bunch of meat in a hotel room. so so I brought some with me. That worked out pretty good. I learned some things, so I'll do that. I might do it a little different next time. My friend Yuri, that I also work with too, he's a big bodybuilder. He lives the lifestyle, so to speak, bodybuilder lifestyle. So he actually has meal prep delivered to his hotel. I might try that next time. It's a little bit more expensive, but maybe it would cut down the waste and it would come out as a wash in the end. So we'll see. But overall, health wise, everything's good. I actually got more sleep last night than I've gotten in probably a month. I slept for 8.5 hours last night, which is pretty amazing. I don't really know what changed other than the fact that I turned my alarm off and forced myself to kind of go back to sleep. I woke up at 4 a.m. as I usually do, 4 or 5 a.m. usually. But this morning I woke up at 4, and I'm messing around with a new toy that I have. It's actually called an 8 sleep bed. Here, I'll show you all what I'm talking about. So let me get my screen up here. Yeah, so I bought one of these. I've been looking at these for a long time, but finally pulled the trigger. They're very expensive, but given how important sleep is, and how I've kind of struggled with sleep pretty much my whole life. I mean, it just wasn't a priority for me, so that was partly my fault. But now that it is a priority, I'm finding it hard to get a decent amount of sleep. When I say decent, I mean over 7 hours. I usually get about 6, so pretty close, but I think I could be doing better. One of the big problems I have when I sleep is first, I'll usually wake up at midnight or 1, and I'll be just drenched in sweat. And that's true even if I just use like a sheet. A lot of people sleep with like a big blanket over themselves, like a big heavy weighted blanket or a down comforter or something like that. I found that not to be good for me because it traps in too much heat, and I wake up in a pool of sweat. So I changed to a sheet. And most nights, well, I'd say probably 60%, 70% of the nights I'm okay, but there's 30 or 40% of the nights that I wake up and I'm just drenched in sweat. Sweat through my shirt, sweat through the sheets. It's kind of gross, but I think it has a lot to do with how much I work out, how many carbs I eat, a lot of that. But ultimately, hey Rach, hey mom. Ultimately you want to try to cool your body down when you go to sleep. If you haven't watched any of Andrew Huberman's stuff, if you go out to the YouTube and we'll ignore the political stuff that came up, and you go out to like Andrew Huberman sleep, he's got a lot of great things around sleep, and you can see I've watched quite a bit of them. But yeah, he is pretty much the foremost expert on sleep as I see it. He knows a lot about it. So this is one product that he does push a little bit. In fact, you can see their partnership, in the app and things. You can see his face on there. But essentially, so to get back what I was talking about, so I sweat a lot. I also tend to kind of toss and turn, and I don't know. It's just I have problems getting comfortable, especially now. Like that, I think because my shoulders are a little bit bigger. I'm not trying to say I'm huge or anything, but because my anatomy is kind of changed, I tend to have problems with my shoulders. This joint here that connects your collarbone into your shoulder, it's called the AC joint. Gets a little sore, and that's from me sleeping on my side and crushing this shoulder up. So not so much problems with my neck. It's mainly my shoulders that end up hurting. So what's interesting about 8 Sleep is the way it works is it's essentially like a liquid cooled bed. So you've got this cover that goes over your mattress, and then you've got this tank, this water chiller. It's really what it is a chiller. It's also a heater too. And so the blanket here that goes over your mattress, or the mattress cover, has, water tubes running through it. And hey AJ. And basically this thing pumps cool or hot water through the mattress cover to either raise the temperature or lower the temperature of the mattress. And so when you sleep, you should try to get as cool as possible to go to sleep. And then when you want to wake up, you slowly bring your body temperature up. And that just kind of happens naturally, but this kind of encourages that process. So last night was the first night. I got it on Friday morning. I've been waiting on this thing for a bit. And I'll do probably a whole video on my findings on this once it's been a week or so. But basically, last night was my first night with it, and I slept 8.5 hours. And it was an accident because you can program this thing to wake you up at a certain time. So if you want to wake up at, let's say, 5 a.m., 5:30 is usually when I like to wake up. It'll raise, it basically has this thing called autopilot. Well, basically it'll raise the head up. It'll play some calming music through the speaker. It will also start to raise the temperature of the bed to bring you peacefully out of sleep. Hey, John, welcome. So it's a fascinating device. Like I said, it's very, very expensive. That's why I hadn't bought it in such a long time. But I noticed they do have an option to rent it. It's pretty expensive, as much as a car to rent it. So I don't know if I'd recommend that, but I did buy one of these, and so far it's interesting. I got the ultimate model, which has this base in it, which will raise and lower the mattress from the headboard or your knees. I got this hub thing, which is the chiller and the cover. I did not buy the blanket or the pillow cover. These two things are optional. But you can also have the blanket, so the thing that covers you also follow that same cooling and heating pattern, and the pillow too. But mainly I might end up getting the blanket. We'll see. It's black, so that, for a house with 8 cats, yes, I have 8 cats. Black is probably not a good choice for us. So you could do a duvet cover and all that stuff, but the blanket looks pretty interesting. What's cool is you can add it on. So like, as long as you buy the model that supports the blanket and the pillow and all that. But there's a whole app to it. I'm still kind of figuring all this out. So I'll do a proper video on this whenever I've got this thing kind of figured out. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. That is one thing that did get better. But you can see here, if I look at my Garmin, and this is the other thing that I wanted to get to it through it too, is that a lot of the times Garmin will say that I slept a certain way, but then my Oura ring, which also tracks sleep, says something completely opposite. So we could probably use this as an example here. Let's see. Oura. Yeah, let's look at Oura ring here. So first, let's look at Garmin. So Garmin says last night my sleep score is an 85 out of 100, which is the highest it's been, I think, in like over a month. If you look at, I've gotten 84s, but I mainly stay in the 70s. Sometimes I drop pretty low if I have a terrible night of sleep. But these are averages. But anyway, you can see that if you go to a year, it shows the average. But over the last 4 weeks, that's the highest score I've gotten in a month. You can see I'm mainly in the 60s and 70s. And mainly, I think the reason why is because of the duration here. As you can see, 6 hours, 26 minutes. So lots of good sleep there. I got excellent deep sleep, an hour and 45 minutes. I got 4 hours of light sleep, but I got an hour and 49 minutes of REM, which is fantastic. But I also got, this is interesting, usually awake restlessness, I'm usually pretty restless in my sleep. Let's see if maybe we can see what that looks like over can you change this to restless? No. That sucks. Well, maybe I can just look at a day, and then switch. So like last night, a restless 9 minutes, 29 things. 11 minutes the night before that. 11 minutes. So it got a little better, but yeah, see this 22 minutes. That's usually where I fall in, is in the 22 minutes. There's 12 minutes there. 7 minutes actually. That's really, really good. I must have been toast that day. 9 minutes. So it got a little better last night, but 18 minutes. You can see it's just not very consistent, but that's one of the other things that 8 Sleep does, is that it monitors your sleep while you're in deep sleep and REM sleep. This thing like measures your heart rate, measures your body temperature, takes all these different measurements. It can detect when you're snoring, so it'll lift the headboard up if you're snoring. I mean, it's pretty, if you're in a weird position, it'll also try to adjust the bed a little bit so you change. But I didn't actually have any of that wake me up when it was doing that. It said it made like 25 different adjustments. I didn't wake up on any of them. So now I am skeptical, like some of it I am a little skeptical about. Sometimes they say they're doing all these things, but are they really? So I plan on doing maybe uh, some experiments to see if I can actually detect whether they are actually doing the things they say they're doing. Like I said, I'm kind of skeptical, especially with the cost of this thing. I want to make sure that it's legit. Rachel, did you dream last night? I can't remember. Sometimes I can remember if I dream, but last night I don't remember if I dreamed or not. But usually I have pretty vivid dreams. That has a lot to do, I think, with the human growth hormone or the growth hormone that I'm on, yeah, HGH. That can cause some pretty vivid dreams. Also, the amount of food you eat. I've noticed if I eat a lot of food, I'll also have some trippy dreams. Not like violent or anything like that, but very vivid dreams that seem very realistic. Sometimes I'll do that, but I did eat quite a bit last night before bed, and it's because I was behind on calories and I was a little bit worried about that. And I'll talk about weight and everything here in a minute, but I did actually eat a little bit more than I normally eat last night, and it was because I was behind in calories. Um, I did not work out yesterday. I just kind of. Oh, this is okay. Yeah, I was gonna. Maybe I can do this off screen real quick. It's off screen. Oh, let's see. I sent it to my watch. Cool. Let's see. All right. Oh, actually, somebody might be able to reuse that now that I think about it. All right, well, just ignore that. That was bad that I actually showed that on screen. That was bad. But hopefully that code will expire and nobody will pop my account. Shame on me. I'm a cybersecurity guy. I should know better than that. But anyway, I that's pretty funny. Yeah, so Aura, my ring, says that I got an hour and 3 minutes of deep sleep and an hour and a half of REM sleep. So that's not too far off. It's usually way different than that. Like, let's see if I can look at it. Like yesterday. Let's see. Oh, this is okay. Oh, this is okay. This is the summary. I just want to look at like a day. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah. Okay. Here's like, yeah, like it'll say, deep sleep. I can't really see. Yeah, I don't really like their interface here. It's not the greatest. Let me actually pull it up on my phone here. So I'll hide this and then unhide that. Let's pull it up on my phone. Now I got to find my phone window. There it is. Yeah, so if I look at Aura here, let's see. Let me look at. Oh, it's calculating. Yeah, yes. Let's see. Yesterday. Yeah, so it says yesterday I got 47 minutes of deep sleep. Um, let's see, that was the 10. Yeah, so it says I got 47 minutes of deep sleep and hour and 17 minutes of REM. So they both matched on REM, so that's actually pretty rare. But deep sleep, you see the difference, hour and a half versus 47 minutes. So like, it's really hard to tell like who's right, right? Like, who do you listen to, Garmin or Aura? So now I'll have the 8 sleep bed giving me the similar data, and just to give you kind of a sneak preview of what I'll show once I kind of master this thing or get a little more familiar with it. But here's the deep sleep app. And so basically it's saying last night, okay, so this will be kind of good. I haven't looked at this, so I'll do this live here. Deep sleep, hour and 20, REM, hour, almost 2 hours. So REM, it's pretty close, hour and 49 versus hour 59. Deep sleep, hour and 20 versus hour and 44. That's close enough. I think that's pretty good. But yeah, like, check this out. Like, Autopilot made 29 different adjustments. It looks like it sleep stage responses. So like, I guess based on my sleep stage, it did some different adjustments during light and REM. It also looks like I had 2 snoring events. So it adjusted the headboard up, I'm guessing, which is pretty interesting. That did not wake me up. So that's, what we should go look at is the other piece of data I gather is, let's see, where is it called? It's called My Air. So this is my CPAP. So let's look at my CPAP and see what it says as far as snoring and stuff goes last night. So lots of data here. You can kind of drive yourself nuts with all this data. Oh, that didn't totally work. Okay. Apparently you can't see that on the screen. But actually I got 100%, 100% on my score here. Looks like 8.5 hours, and I had 0.8 events per hour. Let's see. So that's actually that's a little high. So yeah, so that does support that I perhaps did have some snoring that happened last night. So some higher level of apnea events. So, but I just saw my sleep doctor like the other day, and she looked at my, they can see all your metrics, and she said everything was fine. So I think I'm good on apnea. Other than that, like things are going pretty good. Like my weight is kind of staying stable. Like you can see, it's ticking up. You can kind of see a small trend line going up, but I was a little nervous because I was starting to hit over 170, and I felt like that was a little quick. So yesterday I trimmed calories a little bit, but I think I overdid it because I weighed in 3 pounds lighter this morning. So that's probably all water. But yeah, you can kind of see it's just kind of going up and down, up 2 pounds, down 1 pound and third, up 0.7 pounds. So, I'm probably about 168, 169 pounds right now. So I'm staying good. Like it's been almost 8 weeks since my DEXA scan. So I think that's pretty good. I think 7 pounds gained since my DEXA scan. So that's almost 1 pound a week. That's like perfect. I had that big spike at the beginning, and then because you can actually kind of see that. Yeah, so like this is when I had my DEXA scan right here. I was depleting. I was pretty heavily depleted here, so I didn't have any carbs in my system, so no glycogen, meaning I didn't have a lot of water in my muscles. So this is when I started, like, I had the DEXA here, and then I went up big time because I was pigging out. I was just hungry, and my body was hungry for calories, but now you can see it's kind of leveling out. So yeah, I think everything's going good when it comes to weight and everything else. So overall, pretty happy. Overall, pretty happy with things where things are going weight wise. As far as like nutrition and everything, that's staying pretty. I think I'm eating like 2,800 calories right now, average. Sometimes I'll spike up to 3,100. If it's like a leg day, I'll go to 3,200. I had a brutal leg workout when I got home from Seattle last weekend. Just absolutely. I had taken a couple rest days in a row, so I think I was just super fresh. And man, I overdid it a little bit. I was sore for like 4 days. I could barely go up the stairs for like 2 or 3 days, and that hasn't happened in a long time. So that tells me I was fresh and ready to go because, yeah, I absolutely crushed leg day. That was awesome. Let's see what else. So workouts are going good. Like my strength is going up. So I feel like I'm recovering. Maybe I'm starting to get over the hump here from that, crazy body fat experiment that I did where I got down to 7%, which, for the bodybuilders, professional bodybuilders watching, you kind of chuckle at 7% because you guys go down to 3%, which is nuts for a 48-year-old guy who has to work for a living and not be a total jerk to his family, although, most of the time I'm kind of gruff. I couldn't, going down to 4%, 3% is kind of nuts for somebody like me, but 7% I was pretty proud of. But yeah, so I think maybe finally I'm getting back to normal from that 7% thing. So maybe my body is adjusting into the weight where I'm at right now. So let's hope for that. As far as like experiments go pharmaceutically, Uh, Everything's pretty much the same. I did start experimenting with something called Mott's C today. Uh, it is well. Let's talk to ChatGPT and see what it says Mott's C is, because it can probably do uh, a better explanation than I can. So let me bring this back up. All right. We'll say, what is Mott's C? So mitochondrial open reading frame. Basically, it's another mitochondrial peptide. So I've been experimenting with SLUPP332 for a while, which is also a mitochondrial uh, agent. It's an exercise mimetic, but basically it's encoded with mitochondrial DNA. It's a 16 amino acid peptide discovered in 2015 and studied for metabolic performance and longevity effects. So it helps with glucose uptake, fat oxidation, mitochondrial biogenesis, which means it can like create new, as I understand it, create new mitochondria. So it's pretty cool. Which is the powerhouse of our cells. So anyway, I tried this today as an experiment, and it was pretty nuts. So you have to be very careful with this particular peptide, which is why I waited. So I've had it for about 2 weeks now, and I've been kind of not scared, but I wanted to be in a stable time frame with people around and etc. when I tried it, because I have heard of people going into anaphylactic shock from this. Essentially, they freak out and not seizures, but you can like start sweating profusely, your tongue hanging out. Like Vigorous Steve talks a little bit about his experience. He injected all 10 milligrams of Motzi at once, and it put him into anaphylactic shock. So, yeah, it can be a little dangerous. Not dangerous, but it can mess you up if you take too much. I took 500 micrograms, which is half of a milligram, just to try it this morning before my fasted cardio. I did a stair climber this morning, fasted, which I try to do about every 2 to 3 days. I do interval HIIT training, so high intensity training, interval training on the stair climber. So I do like 2 minutes at 4 pace, 2 minutes at 12. And that usually gets my heart rate in the 140s to 150s for a good sustained 2 to 3 minutes. I'm just basically trying to exercise my heart, make sure it stays in good condition while I eat all this food and work out a lot and, use trtplus, etc. I just want my heart to stay healthy. But anyway, so I injected half a mig of this morning before exercise, which is usually when people say to do it because it gives you a lot of energy. And I will say that, so when I injected it, I knew that it would cause some site irritation. It causes like a little bit of a red rash. But it did burn pretty good, which was pretty interesting. Even though it was like, I injected half of a unit. So that's, in a 1 milliliter syringe, that's half of one. So it's very, very, because I reconstituted 10 milligrams with 1 milliliter. So if you do the math on that, half a unit is 500 micrograms. Each unit is 1 milligram. So I did 500 micrograms, and it burned a little. The lump stayed there for a while. Like, I'm used to the growth hormone, like when you inject growth hormone or even like retatrutide, which is that GLP-3 that I've been experimenting with. When you inject that, the lump usually, because you shoot it subcutaneously or sub-Q, so that's right under your skin. There's so that fluid stays right under your skin. It usually is gone within like a couple minutes, but this one hung out for like an hour, which was interesting to me. I have to kind of research that. I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, it was crazy. Like within about 10 minutes, I could tell like I was pretty wired. Now I do couple that with SLU, like I talked about, 500 micrograms of that. I was start doing 250 micrograms of SLU, but I just didn't notice much from that, so I bumped it to 500 micrograms. Definitely felt that. And then I also started methylene blue with like a mushroom complex. And methylene blue is it's been around a long time. Uh, I should have probably said what is it, but basically it is a clinically approved drug. It's a what's funny is it's a color dye, but they've been using it since like the 19th century. They use it as a textile dye, but it's been FDA approved for over a century, which is a blood disorder where hemoglobin can't carry oxygen. So it's basically like a mitochondrial enhancer. So a lot of people are really fixated on in the health community are really fixated on this mitochondrial health because these are the powerhouses of our cells, right? So anything that we can do to upregulate or improve that mitochondrial function will give us more energy, help us with fat metabolism, overall metabolism increases, energy to work out, all those things. So a lot of people have come up with like a mitochondrial stack. And I think, Vigorous Steve is one guy that's talked about it for a long time, but there's another guy named Dr. Dean St. Mart who has kind of become the spokesperson, if you will, of mitochondrial health. So if you do like Dr. Dean St. Mart, oh, by the way, for people in my family that are watching, you should look at this guy and see that he looks familiar. Yeah, that's Chris Ng. He was on a podcast recently that I watch. But anyway, a high school friend of mine. Glad to see him doing so well. He's over at Veracode, so he's a good dude. But yeah, you see, if I type in Dr. Dean St. Mart, you can see Dr. Dean St. Mart mitochondria right here. And he's all over this thing talking about mitochondrial stack. And so his stack, in a nutshell, I think it's got some other stuff in it, but basically it's methylene blue, SLU-PP332, MOTC, and I think there's another one called like SS4 or something. It's another peptide that I don't experiment with, but yeah, I've been messing around. I started MOTC, and I've noticed with MOTC you do have to be a little careful. I don't know if it says it in here. I'm taking 7 mgs a day right now, but you notice the danger here. If you're on SSRIs or MAOIs, it can be dangerous. There's a risk of what's called serotonin syndrome, which is a bad thing. You don't want that. But at 7 milligrams, it's pretty low risk, as I found. But it says high doses over 5 mgs can act as oxidants and cause serotonin syndrome and urine discoloration. Urine discoloration is very normal with methylene blue, but I haven't had any actually. So that's been kind of interesting. But anyway, I've noticed some focus increases, which is interesting. I've also noticed that I have a little bit more energy. I'm a little more upbeat. So mood stabilization, definitely feeling that. Memory enhancement, yeah, I think my memory I've noticed is a little bit better. Improves oxygen utilization, efficiency in brain tissue. So this is kind of part of the reason I started looking at methylene blue is because, definitely have a lot of this action in my family, dementia specifically. So anything that I can do to kind of help any kind of like neurological bumps, improvements, I'm going to look into that. So anyway, this is my first time I've been on SLU for a while. I started methylene blue about 3 or 4 days ago, and then I included the MOTC this morning, and I will tell you, this morning I was pretty energized. I crushed my cardio pretty good on the stair climber. I went 22 minutes. I did like 5 intervals of 2 on, 2 off, and I was crushing it. So definitely felt some positive effects from the MOTC. I don't know that I will use it all the time, like maybe just during the hit days, like the days that I really need it, or I feel like it can make the best use, or I can make the best use of it. But I will keep up the SLU and the methylene blue stuff for a bit, because I feel like that is actually overall kind of helping me. So some new experiments. I'm still on retatrutide. It sucks. Like I had kind of a bad thing happen with the retatrutide. So it's an injectable. It's in like a little vial, right? Well, when I got back from my Seattle trip, I inject. You inject once a week is usually what people do. Some people will microdose it during the week, but I just do it once a week. That's what they did in the clinical trials, so I'm kind of going with that. Um, I I went to inject on Sundays is when I inject. So the Sunday after I got back, I took the vial out of the fridge and it was empty. And it turns out the vial had been knocked over, and because I use I don't know what they're called, but basically it makes extracting out of a vial a little easier. You don't have to puncture a needle through the bladder. You can there's a thing that just sits in the bladder, and you just hook the syringe up to it, and you can pull what you need out of it without having to use a needle. Um, that thing I guess had not sealed, so it leaked out. So retatrutide is pretty expensive for 10 milligrams. It's about $90. Now, if I'm only taking a milligram now, I'm taking a milligram and a half every week. So that's not bad. That's like 2 months of retatrutide for $90, which is way cheaper than the GLP-1 twos that people are getting from pharmacies these days. Now, you can make an argument. I get it from a third party source, so it's not from a pharmacy or anything, but you can't get this from a pharmacy anyway. But anyway, I had to order some, so I was like 3 days late on my shot. Didn't really notice. I'm sorry, I did notice a hunger increase big time. My food drive kind of started going back up. I started getting hungrier. So I could definitely tell the retatrutide is helping kind of control some of my food craving, which it's supposed to do. So I bumped that from the clinical trial dose is 2 milligram. I've only been doing like I started with half a milligram. I went to a milligram for a couple weeks. Um, so I went to a milligram and a half, and I'm trying to be very careful because, like I think I talked about last time, um, if you if you use too much of this stuff, it can make you very, very ill. Not like deadly ill, but it can make you throw up. It can make you feel nauseous. Use the restroom a lot. Like if you can OD on this, that basically it'll wreck your digestive system pretty bad. So and that's true for all of those. Like if you do too much, it will mess you up, or it'll just slow down your gastric emptying so bad that like food will just sit in your gut. And I don't want that either, especially now that I'm trying to basically make progression in muscle mass. I need to be eating in a calorie surplus. I need to be eating more than my body needs slightly. I don't want my gut slowing down because I need those calories and those macro and micronutrients to be absorbed so that I can fuel my workouts, so I can make progression at the gym and I can progress my muscle gains. Um, so I'm sticking with a mig and a half, milligram and a half for now, just for a while and just kind of see. Because I'm not doing this to lose weight. I'm doing it basically to help with some of the glucose control stuff. I'm helping. I'm doing it to help with some fat oxidation, and I have noticed like I've lost fat specifically in my love handles that did not come off when I was really dieted down to 7%. I still had a majority of my fat. I felt like was still in my love handles, so it's actually trimmed my love handles down a little. I've lost like almost a half to 3/4 inch on my waistline, which is crazy because I'm 8 pounds heavier than I was at my lowest. So pretty crazy. This stuff's pretty crazy. Like it's I think it's revolutionary. Like I think, and this is only going to get better from here. So when this hits the market, it's going to be the next, you know, trizepatide, etc. This thing's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty huge. That is if they don't find something bad with it. But so far, it's pretty awesome. So yeah, a lot of good luck with retatrutide. I am a big fan of that peptide. Uh, so anyway, questions. Yeah, Chris saying I was tripped out when I saw that come across my YouTube feed. I was like, holy crap. Um, yeah, if you're not watching these days, the Olympia is on. That's why like all my feed has all this Olympia stuff going. Because the Mr. Olympia is going on right now. So that's all this stuff kind of showing up. But Yeah. So, and you can see what I watch a lot on YouTube. It's either coding stuff, like pose detection with ML, or stuff about working out or stuff about, optimizations. I'm a big fan of this guy, Regan Grimes. He's a good dude. Seems like a good guy. This guy too, John. I'm blanking on his name. John Jewett. He's from San Antonio, so he's a cool dude. So yeah, so these are all guys that and gals that I follow. But yeah, cool. All right, questions. What questions do people have? Any questions? I know I went through a lot of information really fast, so I don't know. Even a question like, "Why do you do all this crap?" I don't know if I can even answer that question. I don't even know if I have an answer for that question. All right, I don't see any questions coming through, so I'll probably end this here. As far as today goes, yesterday I took a rest day because I put that 8 sleep bed together. That was a lot of work. It was heavy. That thing's heavy. Mattress is heavy. I mounted up the headboard to the wall finally after being in this house for almost 3 years. I finally mounted the headboard so that it doesn't keep falling on us when we're changing sheets. So finally got that thing mounted. Thanks to my wife for her patience, understanding, and help with that, because I know I can be a real jerk when it comes to getting frustrated over doing stuff like that. But anyway, yeah. So shout out to my wife Jen for her help with that, and just for being my partner in crime. I'm very, very, very blessed to have a wife like Jennifer and to have the kids I have. I feel very, very blessed. I'm trying to be express more gratitude these days and bathe in the fact that my life is pretty good, despite challenges with things. Life's pretty good. So overall, yeah, feel pretty good. Things are going good. All right. Well, I'll close the stream off there. Hope everybody's doing good. I think one thing I'll leave you with is, if you're waiting for, a New Year's revolution, New Year's revolution. No. If you're waiting for a New Year's resolution to get in shape or lose weight, my advice is don't wait. Don't wait for a date. Just plant the flag in the ground and say, you know what, I'm going to start today. I think a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to do it. January 1st, I'm going to do it. But that just feeds in, I think, more to procrastination. And I think procrastination is the devil of all things productivity and health. Like, I fight it, procrastination. No, I'll do that later. Or, that can wait, And while some stuff can wait, I think it's important to run at stuff. Like when you need to do something, like get it done. Like just get it done. And I feel the same thing about health. Don't wait till a date. Make the commitment. Plant the flag in the ground. Say I'm going to commit to this, and start slow. Like make a small change and set goals too. One thing Terrence Ruffin is a bodybuilder that I follow pretty closely. Just insane physique. This guy, he goes by Rough Diesel, but it's Terrence Ruffin. He has this board that I saw this recently in a video. He has this board where he has his affirmations up there. He's like, I will be Mr. Olympia. I will, do this. I will do this. And he's got them he's crossing them off. And everything that he does every day, he's working towards that. And I think that's really good. And in fact, something that I want to start doing too. So I would say start today, start slow, just with, I'm going to take a 10-minute walk every other day. Like, I think that's great. Then when you check that off, say, I'm going to take a 10-minute walk after every meal every other day. And then once you check that off, I'm going to take a 10-minute walk after every meal every day. And then once you check that off, it's like, I'm going to take a 15-minute walk every other day after every meal, and then 10-minute walk after it, just slowly but surely. And you'll be amazed like what that will do. Or I'm going to track my calories for a week and see what happens and check that off. And if it's not for you, that's okay. Like, but what's cool is if you track your calories for a week and you see how much you eat and you watch the scale, if you eat those same things the next week and don't track it, you're eating the same thing. Like you're eating the same amount. So you don't have to like track your calories. You can actually just track it to see how much you're eating, change it, maybe track a little more, and then say, okay, I'm not tracking anymore, but this is what I'm going to eat every day. And adjust it like on the days that you go for your walk, eat a little more. On the days that you don't go for your walk, eat a little less. Like those little tweaks, you'll be shocked at how much you can achieve. I mean, that's how I started, was just walking. I just walked. Like walked on a treadmill. I went to a gym. Yeah, you don't have to. You just walk around your block. It's nice out. Just go for a walk your dog or cat. I don't judge. But yeah, just go for a walk and see what happens. And I think you'll notice a positive change in your life. So keep up the great work. I know you can do it. I will see you next week right back here. Thanks for watching.